Alright, this one's going to be a little bit different. This is one I couldn't find a vocal track for, but I've always liked it, so I'm going to sing this one for you a cappella. A leopard with a harmless kid lay down, and not one savage beast was seen to frown. The wolf did with the lambkin dwell in peace. His grim carnivorous nature there did cease. The lion with the flatling on did move, and a little child was leading them in love. Long ago there was a young painter who had a dream that every creature came and stood assembled by his side. And he painted the sight that had sweetened his night over 100 times before he died. A kid, a lion, and a snake and a child, wide-eyed and formal and smiling like the sun had stopped and time had ceased to move. And the wolf and the lamb came and ate from his hand, and a man-child was leading them in love. Oh, my friend, have you seen all the lines and the spaces, the colors that the young painter sees in the peaceable kingdom that shines in the faces of people from more gentle times than these? I find myself adrift these days, and endless maze of days and ways that, well, seem so crazy to be here. But look away, back and forward from today to the visions of either fools or seers. Oh, my friend, have you seen from the lines and the spaces the colors that the young painter sees in the peaceable kingdom that shines in the faces of people from more gentle times than these? Such a beautiful place, full of joy, full of grace. It was bathed in our saintly yellow light. To what learning to know that such things can't be so. He could only believe that they might. Oh, my friend, have you seen all the lines and the spaces, the colors that the old painter sees in the peaceable kingdom that shines in the faces of people from more gentle times than these? Oh, my friend, have you seen all the lines and the spaces, the colors that the young painter sees in the peaceable kingdom that shines in the faces of people from more gentle times than these? Let me give some commentary on that real quick before I go. The reason that I like this song, look, it's kind of like the song by John Lennon that I do not like at all. And maybe you've heard it. It's called Imagine. And it paints this picture of a communist utopia. And look, I'm not going to criticize people's belief system, but in my opinion, this is my opinion, communism don't work. Because it don't matter what system you put into place, there's people that are going to be in power. And as much as we dislike it, those people in power, they're going to be at the top and they're going to hog all the wealth. Whether it's capitalism, whether it's communism, whether it's whatever. The difference between communism and capitalism, and I include socialism in with communism, because it's the founder of socialism, Karl Marx, actually said the end result of socialism is communism. That's actually in his book. So you can't separate the two. It's just not going to happen. You can try, it just ain't going to happen. But the end result that we're going to have is nothing's ever going to be perfect. I mean this with the utmost respect. You paint a picture of the best of the best society you can think of, okay? And the best of the best society you can think of, it's always going to have its flaws when you try to take it into reality. And there is a line in this particular song that acknowledges this. Okay? And the line is, such a beautiful place, full of joy through full of grace, full of joy, full of grace. It was bathed in our saintly yellow lie. To what learning to know that such things can't be so. He could only believe that they might. Basically, what that is saying, you can try your absolute best to create a perfect world, but it's still going to be imperfect on this side of heaven, on this side of reality. In heaven, it's going to be perfect because there is no sin. There's no hurt. There's no pain. There's no misunderstanding. You know, you can go through misunderstanding out the wazoo and have so much problems, and you can just get dragged down by the hurt and the pain. Forgive me, I love to clap my hands in front of the mic. But the point of that song is, you dream of a better world. You continue to make the effort to make your world a better place to live, a better place to call home. And I think this is what a lot of Christians have missed, have called a lost cause. They want to say that it's going to hell in a handbasket. I've heard that all of my life. It's going to hell in a handbasket. It's going to hell in a handbasket. Get your rapture rug out. Get your rapture rug out. Get ready. Jesus is coming soon. And don't get me wrong. I do believe the second coming is imminent, and it's coming eventually. But Jesus has been saying he's coming soon for 2,000 years. And I think half of the reason that he hasn't come yet is he's waiting on us to do what we were called to do and do our job. Some of us don't even know what our job is, and we're not even trying to find out. And what I mean by that is I believe absolutely there is, for everybody on this earth, saved or not, you have a job that God put you on this earth to do. And if you ain't saved, you ain't going to be able to even hear what that is. So get saved, get your job done. We'll talk about this stuff later. And if you're an atheist, God bless you. I have sympathy for you. I love you. I don't have enough faith. I really don't. Um, but this will probably turn into me rambling for 10 to 20 minutes about religion and faith and how free will works together with predetermination and predestination and that kind of stuff. By the way, predestination is not what people say it is. The Calvinists have got it all wrong. Predestination means everybody's got a job that they are supposed to do. Everybody, saved or not. And I've seen this myself through dreams and through visions. I've seen libraries in heaven. And these libraries, there's this gold-plated, gilded book that was your perfect plan. Everybody's got one of these. Everybody. And beside it, there is either a brown or black leather book. Black for unsaved individuals who sadly wasted their life. Because God is drawing you to Him right now. He draws everybody. He's speaking to everybody. He's speaking to you right now. Hey, I could be the way that Jesus is speaking to you. Come on. Come on. Come to the Lord. But if I'm not, somebody is. He's not, he never shuts up. Trust me. He's always talking. And trust me, if I wasn't a full-blown believer in this, I wouldn't be talking myself. But the brown books are the ones, our lives as we live them, and he's adding pages every day. He's typing pages every day. He's watching everything you do. Angels are watching everything you do every day. And they're adding, and they're adding, and they're adding. And when you get to heaven, the books are going to be opened. Your life as you lived it. Your life as God wanted you to live it. And he's going to say, oh, you, sir, Mr. Bryce, you had issues with lust and being obsessed with finding love. Love was out there for you. I had it for you, and you waited patiently. You tried, but you also were impatient to the degree that you were so ready to find it that you neglected other duties that you might have had along the way. You also had issues with arguing with your parents a lot. Sometimes you were right, sometimes you were wrong, sometimes you needed to shut up and let them listen anyway. Or listen to them anyway so you could hear what they were saying, because I had something to say about the matter. And without hearing them, you couldn't hear me. And so for that you get a mark. You get a mark. You didn't do as well as you could have in this area. Oh, by the way, you didn't take all the opportunity given to you at your job, or you thought you were too haughty and proud to spend extra time to start at a low totem pole position, and you were angry that you spent all that money at the college for a degree plan that when you got done with it, they told you it was no good, and you were the top of your class, and you were angry that despite being the top of your class, you couldn't start where you were supposed to start or where you felt you were supposed to start. That's a mark on you. You could have been so much better. I'm just going through some of the things that I think he might say about me. And I'm in constant prayer about how can I do better? How can I be better? And that is because I love my God. I love my Jesus. I love doing what he calls me to do. And I want to do it better. I really do. So let us continue trying to sum this all up, to make our world a better place, but also recognize that nothing we do is ever going to make this place 100% perfect. We were actually talking about in chat universal healthcare and some of the things, and I said, I understand what you're talking about. I understand wanting to give money to people who need it, and there should be a way to do that voluntarily if you've got it to spend, but I don't like the idea of just forcibly taking money to add to the tax pile so that it can be redistributed as healthcare or as food or as all of these extra things. We're having right now issues in America because the system for food stamps allows people to get all kinds of things that aren't necessary for a living, like Little Debbie cakes and chips and sodas, and you're like, okay, so if you're a if you're a poor person, you shouldn't get any of those things. Yes, I absolutely believe that if you're a poor person, you should not be with your food stamp money. Now, you can spend the money that you're actually earning, because part of being on food stamps should be you should have to have a job. Sorry, if you're just sitting out there bumming it on the street, you should not be able to go to SNAP or food stamps or WIC or anything like that and live off the government dole. So you should be able to use some of that extra money that you get from your job that's not quite enough, and you should be able to use that money to buy those extra frills, which you can buy that's from what's left over, that's not going into your savings. And you should be putting yourself some into savings, just like I put money into savings every other week, because I try to put at least 10% 10% back. Now, do I always do that 100% of the time? No, I get it. Sometimes you mess up, but you've got to keep trying. And that's what I'm going to title this part of things, is you've got to keep trying. And that's the way that I'm going to end this, is I'm going to say, keep trying, guys. Keep doing what you know that you can do. And know that you have to do in order to make your life and the lives of others around you better. I think that's key. I don't. People want to make assumptions about what they can and cannot do, and they want to put it off on somebody else. I tell this story often. This story is about a man who um, wanted to build a youth center. He felt led by God to build a youth center. And the youth center was in the middle of the inner city. And he thought about it and planned it out. And finally, he wadded the plans that he had. Kind of like, hang on, let me do this way. Kind of like this. This right here. And he took it and threw it in the trash. I did that for effect. And he said, somebody else will do it. Now, if you took everything that crossed your mind that was good, threw it in the trash, and said, somebody else will do it. Somebody else will do it. And you kept doing that and kept doing that. Eventually, you're going to have a clean floor. You're going to have a clean house. You're going to have a clean life. You're going to be organized. But you know what? All the good stuff that you had planned to do is nothing. You don't have anything left. And all the things around you that could have been built from ruined cities would all of a sudden be nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I know what some of you are thinking, but I don't want to get up off my couch. I work hard as it is. I work a 9-to-5 job. I work 9 to 5, and I get home and I'm extremely exhausted, and I work outside in the elements, and I'm talking to the choir because this is me too. This is me too. I just got home from running errands all day, and now I'm talking to you guys on the computer through a recording. I'm recording this now, and I'm going to upload it. And I'm going to call it Why We Need to Keep Trying. Why we need to keep trying. And that is why I'm actually constantly figuring out things that I need to do. I myself, I smack my chest and I beat my chest and I say, I myself, I need to do this. Because if I don't do something, I've wasted another day. I've wasted another hour. I've wasted another 30 minutes. I've wasted another second. And I don't want to waste my life. I want to make a difference. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm one of the only people out there that really want to make a difference, really want to my life to mean something at the end of the day. You think, oh, but why does it matter how many things are done at the end of the day? How many lives are changed at the end of your life? Just live your life to its fullest for you. My thing is, I've tried doing things my own way, even as a saved individual, even as someone who believes in Christ. Trust me, it's an empty life. And you're not fulfilled at the end of the day. I tried to put my own life back together long ago. And it led to heartache, it led to pain, it led to suffering, it led to me being hurt and crying on my bed and wondering if maybe, just maybe, my life was worth still existing and wanting to bow out, as the case may be. Wanting to exit stage left as a certain snagglepuss would say. Certain pink, was he a panther or a lion or... I'm not quite sure. That's gonna bug me now. I'm gonna look that up. This is like a conversation here, so... Snagglepuss. There we go. A light pink anthropomorphic puma. He's a puma. So there we go. Snagglepuss. But I wanted to exit stage left. I wanted to exit stage left because I was hurting. And that's where living for yourself leads to. And I'm not saying you don't have things that you have to do for yourself. I still have to clean. By the way, I'm failing at that. I don't like that I'm failing at that, but I'm failing at that. So, here is the question. This is your think about it for the day. And I've officially turned a 4 to 5 minute video into a almost 30-minute sermon. What is it that you as a person need to do? What do you feel led to do? I'm not just... Let's cut religion out of it for a second. I don't necessarily believe we ought to take Jesus out of the equation, but say you don't believe there is a God, okay? That's not my thinking, but it's yours if you're listening to me now and you're saying, this guy talking about religion, he's completely full of crap. And so let me say this. Everybody has a drive, a passion, something that they feel like they're supposed to do. Deep down, deep down. And I gotta ask you, just like I had to ask me this, and I've asked me this several times in the moment. It's what I asked when I started this channel and started uploading all kinds of content. I started with gaming, and I will still do some gaming, guys. I'm planning on doing some gaming right after I finish this. We're gonna have some Minecraft recorded so that I can actually say that I've done some gaming today. And I'm going to play a little bit of Minecraft after I eat supper. But what do you, as a person, feel like you should do? I ain't talking about what you have a base impulse to do. There's lots of things that I have a base impulse to do that I know I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't at all. And there are things that I'm trying to quit. But everybody has a heart's desire, if you will. I'm talking something they know in their deep, deep, deep down, that they're supposed to do. Mine are as follows. Okay? I am to, number one, ever since my whole healing experience happened, which I haven't talked about in depth on this channel yet. I've got a video on there, but it's not made public. It I plan on making a public version as soon as everything's proven and out in the open with different pictures and things like that, um, showing scans and whatnot and telling you all the stories and whatnot. Um, Number two is to tell stories. I love telling stories, y'all. You don't understand how much I love telling stories. I love, love, love telling stories. It is my favorite thing to do, my favorite pastime. Third thing, upload quality content for you guys. And that's what I hope I'm doing today. I know I've been uploading a lot of covers to pad the runtime, and I'm sorry for that. Hopefully, you guys have been enjoying it. It seems like there's a lot of you that have. Uh, it's not getting as much traction as it used to. I think you guys tend to like the um, you guys tend to like the gameplay videos much better. We do have more of that coming. I'm trying to get the group together so that I can actually do the challenge video, the rest of that challenge video, and play the rest. But all the group has to be there, and I don't want to have a issue of not having the people that I want to have in the video. So we need to kind of regulate that as we can. And number 4 or 5 on the list is I want to build some awesome stuff. I have so many plans for so many buildings that will shake the world by storm, and especially the United States. It will protect our freedoms so that we have them in the private sector as well as the public. And it will, I don't want to say end certain institutions, but it will perform a function that is needed in these institutions, and it will create a more diversified market for how these things are done. Um, I have what I like to call the Freedom Center, and it will protect all of our constitutional amendments. If you find it in the Constitution, you can find it here. There will be a library, and there will be restricted books, kind of like in school libraries right now. They've got, and rightfully so, um they've got certain books that contain certain content that would be, if I showed it on YouTube, it would get me a copyright strike, but also a content strike, and maybe even banned. But for some reason, it's okay for a public school to have it, and they've had lots of, for context, look up images in what they call the book in question. Genderqueer is one of them. And there is one book called This Book is Gay, which is being given to middle schoolers. And it has things like hookup apps and information on that in there. And that's being given to middle schoolers? No. That needs to be restricted. That needs to be restricted. Nobody needs to see that. You don't need to be seeing naked bits if you're under 18. You're and they're like, they're gonna be seeing that anyway. Is it really worse if we actually let it in school and teach them? Yeah, we need to be restricting all of that. You don't need. I'm sorry, but a kid does not need to be seeing pornography, and it does actually give you. It alters your sensibilities. It does. I've seen it firsthand. Um, if somebody is like even adults, um, if you're looking at illicit material like that, you are rewiring your brain, and normal sexual experiences don't appeal to you anymore. It's it's very disgusting what some of these studies have found out. And there is a website called, I think it's called yourbrainonporn.com, um, that goes through the studies, and this was not developed by a Christian. This is a card carrying atheist that discovered this issue. And look, am I saying things are perfect? No, things are not perfect. I would love to tell you that if we get rid of all the pornography and bad books and stuff, that things are going to. When I say bad books, I mean inappropriate books in regard to they shouldn't be given to kids. Okay? And look, I will even acknowledge, okay, the children's books from earlier days, right? From earlier days. I wouldn't necessarily want my kids to read, not because they're bad books, but because there are lines in there that are inappropriate. I might read them to them and skip it over so they don't have to hear that. And then I'll give them a copy later in life and be like, yeah, you get to read this now. For example, there is a line in The Wizard of Oz, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look it up. Well, this one doesn't actually say this, but I swear if I remember correctly, and I remember pretty well, the audiobook, but I swear I heard somebody like the Tin Man or the it was either the Tin Man or the Scarecrow saying, "I've heard she likes the company of other women," and referring to the Wicked Witch of the West. Um, Actually, let me. No, I think though, if I'm not mistaken, the I think it was the Tin Man that called her that, saying that the phrase "I've heard she prefers the company of other women" in regards to the Wicked Witch of the West. I'm not entirely sure there, but I think that's where um, a lot of people get the idea that the version in Wicked was a lesbian and did that kind of thing. But that was never explicitly said in Wicked either. It was just kind of heard. Um, anyway, I will cease on that and just say I my point is there are some things in children's fiction that yeah, I wouldn't necessarily want my kids reading at an early stage of childhood. If I've got kids at an early stage of childhood, that I wouldn't let them read that because I don't want them hearing about that even in passing. I mean, if it is in The Wizard of Oz, it was played off as a joke, as a rumor, as a vicious rumor that and it was played off as, "Oh, look, this person is spreading rumors about the enemy." That's just as wrong as what the enemy is doing. I don't want my kids reading about that even in that way until they're older. So I'm going to monitor what my kids read. I'm going to monitor as a dad what my kids, when I have them, and may I have them very soon, Lord. Um, Sorry, that's a whole nother argument, a whole nother joke. Um, so yeah, my when I buy books, I'm going to read through them, and I'm going to listen through them, and I'm going to say when they say something that I think is inappropriate, I'm going to say, okay, which chapter is that? Which page is that? Oh, it's this and that? Okay, I need to make note of that in a journal somewhere so I can actually skip over this and I can buy a different version that's a paperback and kind of black it out so I don't accidentally read that to my kids before they're ready to hear it. See, that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to have what I'm going to call burn copies that I make all these edits to. And I'm going to make, I'm going to have the original editions that I'm going to have. And there's some Christians that's going to be like, are you going to let them read Harry Potter? You know that's got magic in it. Yes, I'm going to let them read Harry Potter because it's entirely based on Christian fiction. It's entirely based on Christianity. When I say Christian fiction, I mean it's written in ring composition, which is the same way that the Chronicles of Narnia and the Lord of the Rings trilogy is written. It is written in such a way, the same way as some of the greatest Christian authors on the planet wrote their books. And it was written with Christianity in mind. JK Rowling herself said in an interview, if you know the scripture, you know how my books are going to end. How many people picked up a Bible because she said those things and read it for the first time? Yes, I will let my kids read Harry Potter. You can cuss me out if you want to on that. I don't care. Um, there are some people that I listen to, and I'm not going to name them here, but prophets and teachers and all kinds of different people, different individuals that think Harry Potter is of the devil. No, it's not of the devil. Not when she explicitly says that it was written based on the scripture and said, if you know the scripture, you know how my books are going to end. Yes, she did some things with Harry Potter in retrospect and in after the fact that I wish she hadn't done, and I bet she wishes she hadn't done. I bet she wishes she had never said that Dumbledore was gay in private. She'll wish that, even though she'll laud the LGBT lobby till she's blue in the face in public, because she knows that it screwed her over. She will not admit this in public, probably, but if I hazard to guess, if you were to talk to her in private and really talk about the gay rights issue and stuff, I think she would say, yeah, I shouldn't have opened my big fat mouth and said that kind of thing. I really do believe it's public stuff, and I am going to actually add a hashtag for JK Rowling because I'm mentioning her right now, and that may get me trending. I don't know. But Utopia literally means impossible. To sum up my final thoughts, Utopia is literally a fictional, like, let me look up the definition of utopia real quick. I heard about this. Okay, the definition of utopia. Typically describes an imagined community or society that possesses highly desirable or near perfect qualities and was coined by Sir Thomas More in 1516 in the book Utopia, which describes a fictional island society in the New World. Hypothetical utopias focus, among other things, equality in categories such as economics, government, and justice, with the method and structure being proposed, implementarian, varying according to ideology. The Lyman Tower Sargent argues that the nature of utopia is inherently contradictory because societies are not homogeneous and have desires which conflict and therefore cannot simultaneously be satisfied. In other words, it is a fictional society. From the get-go, it was designed to be fictional, and it is impossible, completely impossible to have a perfect world, completely impossible to have a perfect society in which nothing goes wrong. Something is going to go wrong. Somebody's not going to have enough. Somebody's going to want more than they have. And we've got to prepare for that. We've got to understand that that's going to be an issue. You're never going to have, this side of eternity, this side of Jesus' coming, a perfect world. And that's really where I stand on the whole issue. And this is, I guess I'm going to title this Utopia. Because this is not going to be just a sing-song cover. Because it's very, very important that you understand two things. Utopia is never going to happen. Never going to happen. You're not going to get it. Number two is you've got to do what you know you can do. Not forcefully. Okay? I'm not telling everybody that they have to sell everything that they own in order to do what they're supposed to do. I wish it were that simple. But it's not. Some of you may be led to sell everything that you own. If that's you, more power to you. I am not sold on that. I've not been led to that place yet. I am a giver. I will give. I give all the time. I give so that others may have later. And in fact, after I get done with this, either sometime tonight or sometime tomorrow after I finish what I'm doing, I'm actually rounding up some things to give out while I'm on vacation. And to actually give these things while I'm on vacation, I am actually going to have to, let me double check and make sure. I'm going to have to make sure that it's ordered sometime this week because I need to make sure that they're all ordered and ready to go so that I can actually have it ready and test and make sure. Because I want to be able to give out enough, and I got to make sure that the certain other implements are finished, so I'm going to work on that. And I may work on that while I do other things, and I may have another episode for you guys tonight at some point talking about things. And I guess this is going to be another Fish in My Pond episode instead of just a cover. I meant for it to be just a cover, y'all. I really did. But the Lord just started working, and He's like, here's this, here's this, here's this. He does that sometimes with me. And I hope you guys understand. Um, Basically, this is on the impossibility of Utopia, but also understanding that you have a job to do. Understanding that you can do what you have to do, and as you go, things will get better. But it can never be perfect. Never will it be perfect. Does that mean we stop striving for perfection? Heck no. We strive for perfection because that's where we're at. You know. As it stands here, I'm currently working on cleaning and doing things in my room as I can, but I'm also not perfect at it, you know. I want to be better. I do, but I also want to make sure that I have the other things that I've done covered. Like I said, I have to finish certain implements on my word processor for my gifting, which will clear up some space. Um, and it will also allow me to give out and spread the word of what God has done in my life. I absolutely love telling this story, and I do want as many people to know about it as possible. But I don't tell it online because I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I just spread it on a local level. And basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking into the different things, and I'm going to um, organize different things so that I'm just able to have all of this in one goal, in one go. So that's what I'm going to do as part of what I'm doing. And this will probably mean trying to find journals and give them away, and trying to sort through the journals that I have and see what's blank and see what I can give away. Because I don't want to give any that has missing pages. But, you know, um, that is my point. I want to do more. There's some people out there, they don't care. They don't want to do more. They want to sit on their butts and just do nothing. I can't do that. I did that for 4 years before God came in and just changed my life. And I was already His. So don't think just because you're already His, He ain't going to come into your life and say, hey, yank you by the scruff of the, and just change it. And I'm not saying that He's going to force you to change. But He will come into your life and show you things, show you where you're wrong, and say, hey, you need to listen to what I'm telling you. And if you listen to what I'm telling you, life will change for the better. And when you listen to what He's telling you and your life does change, let me tell you, life could be a dream. Life could be a dream. Shoo doo 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 doo. Life could be a dream. If I could take you up to paradise up above. Anyway, that's a joke, but it really is true. Life is absolutely brilliant when you're listening and you're flowing in the rhythm of what God has for you to do. I absolutely love my Heavenly Father. I love listening to what He has for me to say and doing what He has for me to do. When He gives me a task, my immediate reaction is yes. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I get nervous doing what He tells me to do. Right now, he cleared me to go to the doctor to have my foot looked at. There have been people telling me to go to the doctor to have my foot looked at for months now, and even a year. Um, I didn't want to go without clearance. I wasn't hearing the Lord tell me to do it. And finally, he told me in a vision one night, he said, I want you to do it. Basically, he showed me a medical facility, kind of a cartoony medical place facility, and he showed me dancing going into it. So that was him telling me, go ahead. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm going, and tomorrow I go to get it checked out. So if y'all are praying people, keep me in your prayers. I will gladly take it. But you do what you gotta do. You do what you know you have to do. There's something deep down inside, and once you do it, things get better for you. Things get better for other people. And I know, y'all are probably tired of hearing me say that, but it needs repeating. It needs repeating. There are good, solid folks with good ideas, a good, solid set of individuals, right? And they just sit and wait for somebody else to take over. And sometimes they're too young. Sometimes the excuse is they're too old. There are things that I thought I was too young for when I was younger that sometimes I wonder, maybe I should have taken a chance. Maybe I should have taken a shot. And I'm in prayer about some things right now. There's somebody that asked me if I was a med student because of some of the stuff that I know medically speaking. I've talked about on here. Or maybe I haven't. My beef with cholesterol blockers and my beef with Alzheimer's. Basically, what I believe is that Alzheimer's is entirely because of cholesterol blockers and cholesterol medication. Let me explain. If you go back and you look at the records and you look at what people are doing, you can go down the line. This person, 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 this person. Most of the people that have Alzheimer's, if you look, they will be on cholesterol blockers. And that's why it's more prevalent in old people. Partially because of that, and partially because, I will tell you, they don't get as much oxygen to their brains because they're not as active. You combine those two things, you got an accident waiting to happen. And I'm not saying don't take medication, but consult with your doctor and find a second opinion and that kind of stuff, because some of these things that we have that help us in quotes. I'm sorry I don't have a camera, so that doesn't sit well with some people. It doesn't, but they also have other side effects that people don't tell us about. The brain feeds on cholesterol. Period. It feeds on cholesterol. There's the good cholesterol that's really good for you that you need a lot of it. And there's the bad cholesterol that they want you to get rid of. They really need to call it two different things, but it's called cholesterol. Both of them are. your cholesterol, your cholesterol for your good is what your brain feeds on. If you're not getting enough good cholesterol that's in like fish and other different nutrients and vegetables and things like that. Actually, let's look up where you get your good cholesterol, because this is informative. This is informative. We need this. Um, Good cholesterol foods. So, here's what you need. For your good cholesterol, you need oats and whole grains, nuts, avocados, fatty fish, vegetable oils, fruits and vegetables, soy products, dark chocolate. Let me say that again, dark chocolate. But you need to eat you some dark chocolate. 70% or more. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Now, the one thing I will say, soy, you can get it from soy. Alright? However, soy products have their own issues. And do your research on that. Just like seed oils and vegetable oils and stuff like that. Too much of that can be difficult, so it's better to do things like oats and things like that. So I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just a guy with the internet that's kind of trying to help y'all out. Give me just a second, y'all. I'll be right back. Actually, I'm gonna end this here. So have a good night.